And now, coming to you from the Pensado Media Center, powered by Westlake Pro.
Blending the past with the present for hits of the future, our guest is a trailblazer.
Yeah.
This week's winner in the iLoud Micro Monitor Sweepstakes. Come to InstaFesta May 13th. It's at SAELA, and you'll get a job. And a super cool ITL from the Master Blaster himself. You're at the place. It's Pensado's place.
You're probably wondering why I start every week laughing. It's because the gentleman to my left is trying to make me laugh. I'm a consummate professional when it comes to acting. Orange color and all, I've got it right.
And I'm a child acting like a fool. That's all. But it's fun.
Man, you guys picked a great day to stop by.
Yeah.
Right, Herm?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we just get to it.
Let's do it.
We don't want to waste any of the time.
Nah.
Hey, gang, it's our favorite part of the week, and that is our time with you. Much love for your support, likes, and subscribes. Also, a big old fist bump to our awesome partners. They are the Blackbird Academy, Westlake Pro, Avid, DTS, Lander, Recording Connection, Fab Factory, and Studio 202 DC. As I alluded to in the cold opening, Dave and I are giving a keynote speech at noon on May 13th at the InstaFesta. Lots of professionals there in audio. Love to have you stop by. It's free. You're going to meet a lot of people. There's job opportunities. And it takes place at the SAE campus in Los Angeles. You can go to the URL that you see right here. The address to the school is 6700 Santa Monica Boulevard. That's Los Angeles, California, 90038. And one more time, go to the URL right there, sign up and be there. Noon, May 13th. Bunch of folks going to be there.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
This is our third one?
No, actually, we have attended them before, but this is the first one we're giving a keynote speech.
Oh, okay.
So come up with something to say.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The iLoud Micro Monitor Sweepstakes is just on and popping, banging away. As Dave and I like to say, these babies bang. And enter that contest right away and become eligible. We've got about 3 or 4 more weeks. You can win from this great group of prizes you see right here. T-Rax Max, T-Rax Vintage Compressor Bundle, Total Studio Max, Lursen Mastering Console, Arc 2, iLoud Micro Monitors that we just enjoy so much. Man. How do you enter? It's pretty simple. Go to ikmultimedia.com/Pensado. That's ikmultimedia.com/Pensado. Enter your info and you can be a winner. Voila, it's just that simple. DP, who's this week's winner?
George Sturgio.
Very good. We had to work and make sure. So, George, we hope we got your name right. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Give him a round of applause. Yay, George. Again, enter at ikmultimedia.com/Pensado. Make sure you can see the URL right here. Make sure you enter lots of different prizes, 3 or 4 more weeks. And when you enter, if you win, you're still eligible for the grand prize. Great stuff. We're really pleased with that. Correct? Mm-hmm. Thank you for your overreactive response.
I'm still like happy about George winning these speakers. I love these speakers.
You want me to call George? You want to go by and deliver them?
Depends on where he lives.
Yeah.
Are you paying for it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Right,
I hope he's in Greece.
George, I'll be giving you a buzz to make. Say hello to the hard-charging, hookah-huffing Hungarian who goes by the name of
Hand puppets.
Absolutely.
I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm like conducting planes.
You got to work on some stuff. Chongo,
Well, by the way,
doing?
timpanis aren't.
He's a DJ. I'm not supposed to know that stuff. No, that looks like
we'll just stop.
That's a jazz drummer.
Stop right there.
But I've been good. It's a crazy week as always. We got so many good things ahead of us. The live event season is starting up. Can't wait for that. It's exciting.
I did get some information back this morning about Cab Jam that is positive, I think. So hang in there. Cab Jam is our DC event. It'll be the first thing in our live event series. But lots of stuff coming, as Chong was alluding to. We've got some mixed contests coming from Indaba right away. It's going to be very cool. live event stuff, Pensado Village, lots and lots of things. That's why we all look exhausted, but we love it every year.
I look fresh.
You do look fresh. Makeup is amazing.
Cindy's the best.
Well,
Spackle.
It's spackle.
Spackle. Well,
really
I noticed the Home Depot bag.
And you know, she takes the cement, but she lightens it, and it blends in really
She's
perfectly.
the best.
Well, Mr. Spackle, Professor Spackle, why don't you give us this week's ITL?
Last week we did part 1. You don't have to necessarily watch them in order, but I prefer it. And this is how I mess with rap vocals.
Cool. Here we go.
Now, the C4 is I'm using it pretty gently. It's compressing and EQing. It's a 4-band compressor. Watch what's going on this orange line, and you'll see.
Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Mushrooms just because now I'm
Twisted and
laid back. Ain't looking for no buzz. Twisted and laid back. Mixing what?
Okay, you're starting to feel now how we're actually increasing the perception of the ear that there's more dynamics, but we're actually taking some out. It's kind of a cool thing. Now, this is a frequency that was bothering me a little bit. Around 500 looks like. So I'm going to solo that for you, that frequency.
Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Mushrooms just because now I'm twisted and laid back. Ain't looking for no buzz. Twisted and laid back. Mixing what it is and what it. Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Mushrooms just because now I'm
twisted and
laid back. Ain't looking for no buzz. Twisted and laid back. Mixing.
So you know what? Now that I hear it, I think I'm going to not use that. Every day I do something different. I don't know why I did that, but I liked it at the time. This is a great plug-in by Waves. I use it a lot. This side helps you deal with some of the lower elements in the performance, and this side is no different than RVox. So this is RVox, and I think of this as it's expanding a little bit. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but check this out. This is a big contributor to what we're hearing.
Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Mushrooms just be.
Okay, I want you to concentrate on something.
Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Mushrooms just because now. Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Faced against.
You hear twisted and laid back. Now watch, listen to the energy and twisted and laid back. I'm going to take all this off while you're listening to that.
Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Faced against the stars, and I'm twisted and laid back. Faced against the.
So I lengthened the word laid a little bit. It got a little longer, but it put it in time a little better. Timing is not always where a word starts. And a lot of times where the word stops is actually more important. Now let's go to this part here. This part here is kind of fun for me, was kind of fun for me.
Southern Alabama, where my grandma from. Some would call it home, some would call it a slum. And though we moved to California, switch up the slang. I'm just a California country boy at home on the range. Yeah, California. Southern Alabama, where my grandma from. Some would call it home, some would call it a slum. And though we moved to California, switch up the slang. I'm just a California country boy at home on the range. Yeah, California. Southern Alabama, where my grandma from.
Okay, now I hope you noticed that I'm actually using this plug-in. Watch right here. Watch what's happening.
Southern Alabama, where my grandma from. Some would call it home, some would call it.
What I'm actually doing is I'm taking the 1K and expanding just the 1K. And that frequency is giving me the tempo that I want and the feel that I want. Watch when I take this out.
Southern Alabama, where my grandma from. Southern Alabama, where my grandma from.
Alabama and grandma from? Listen to those words.
Southern Alabama, where my grandma from. Southern Alabama, where my grandma from.
Grandma was one of the most important words in the entire song, and you can see how that got lifted by this. Now, another thing, Dave, why are you using a guitar plug-in on a vocal? Rap, the words are very important, particularly in this song. He's singing about he's talking about his childhood, and he's making a lot of political points by doing that. I felt like if I could enhance the consonants in a musical way, that it would help with the timing, which he has great timing, but it would help with the rhythm of the timing. The rhythm of the timing. I'm not sure if that's the actual way to say it, but I wanted the consonants to carry a lot of weight rhythmically. So check this out.
Southern Alabama, where my grandma from. Some would call it home, some would call it a slum. And though
you notice how call, he's real strong on the soft consonants like some, but watch this.
Southern Alabama, where my grandma from. Some would call it home, some would call it a slum. And though we moved to California, Southern Alabama, where my grandma from. Some would call it home, some would call it a slum. And though we moved...
Got me? Okay, pretty cool stuff. Nothing that I'm doing would be considered by me is like difficult or high level stuff or this or that. It's just I saw a need, I heard a need, I felt a need, F-E-L-T, very important. I felt that I could get more emotion out of his performance. It's there, it just needs to be brought out. Sometimes the recording process can rob you of a little bit of performance. So he did it, it's just did the capsule capture from the microphone, did the electronics in the microphone transmit it correctly or properly, or did the preamp work right? Each time his rap goes through another process, another electronic process, electrical process, something's gained, something's lost, and I felt like we'd lost some performance. So that's what I was trying to do.
Our guest resume is full of jazz and hip hop greats, and the result of that blend is just amazing music, and what I like even more is amazing clarity of vision. We are honored. We welcome to the place. We have been stalking him for a minute.
Yeah.
Welcome, producer and visionary Terrace Martin.
Thank you.
What's happening, man?
I'm happy to be here.
You are. No,
It's funny because you guys say you guys been stalking me, but I've been camped out for the past few years outside, hoping somebody recognized me to let me in.
Damn, but I've been driving out the other exit.
You know?
We could have got this done a long time ago.
I see all my friends. I see James, and
Right, all you-
Brent,
all you
Ali.
two, Ali.
I just left them.
We made it happen.
But we here. I'm
We
happy
were
to be
slow,
here.
so we.
I'm happy to be here.
Let's talk about the most important thing. You're a new dad.
I'm a new dad.
What you guys can't see is there's a beautiful
Beautiful
baby sitting in the
little girl.
waiting room.
This
12
big.
days old.
12 days.
Amazing. Life changing.
Oh yeah, life changing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, life changing. It was a beautiful thing.
You think it'll come through in your music?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially me. I mean, I'm rarely inspired by music. I'm more inspired by life.
Yeah,
I try to write and play life.
yeah.
So any new turn, whether it's a challenge or good or bad, I get excited about. So a baby is so much life, you
Yeah.
know, new life.
Yeah.
I'm learning more from her than she's probably learning from me right now. Just looking at her every
The
day.
music is gonna be unbelievable.
I'm
It comes out of
excited.
you. Yeah, I am too, actually.
I'm excited. And she's cool. Every time I play, you know, some music, she loves
gets it.
You know,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
gets it. She's cool.
Wow. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Speaking of parents and parents that raise gifted children musically, your parents were pretty amazing musicians too. Your dad was a drummer, your mom was a singer.
Yeah.
What are you going to do different with your child than they did with you?
Well, I grew up in a great household.
Mm-hmm.
I'm well aware who my father is, my mother is, right?
Yeah, it's big.
But I grew up in the late 80s and 90s when in South Central Los Angeles, crack cocaine and gang banging had really just oversaturated my neighborhood and my family in particular. So I was able to just learn by my heroes and certain twists and turns that they went through. And having a group of children, you know, it wasn't just me in my community. It was a lot of musicians that we mentioned today,
Yeah.
that parents kind of all went through the same. Late 80s and 90s was like, you know, especially for parents that were jazz musicians.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell when I go teach at colleges, you know, what happened to, I said, well, VCRs and drum machines, and I get this whole thing. But my household was affected by, I tell people, by the very same thing that helped pay off my mother's house today and feed my children. My earlier life was affected by these things, you know. So I think my child is growing up in a whole different era, a whole different thing. And because of the internet, it's all these things accessible and all these cool things and all these things. So I think what I'm going to do different for my child that maybe my parents, our parents back then weren't able, because my mom had to work 2 and 3 jobs and hustle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So as a musician, as an artist, I'll be a lot more conscious financially about things. You know.
It's a responsibility.
That's a big thing in a
It's a
household
big
as an
thing.
artist and a musician.
Big thing.
Is not to be rich, but just to be able to do certain things where you don't have to make drastic decisions and compromise your art and feed your family.
What instrument would you be happiest if she played? An accordion?
You know, I'll say this. I don't know too many working people that play accordions, and I want her to love life. And
We're researching that right
You
now.
know, but,
You do like being different.
I do
guess.
like being different.
Yeah.
You know what? Well, my mother used to tell me, if you're gonna learn instruments, you gotta learn keyboard.
Period.
I said, why? Because keyboard explains everything. It's the only instrument. It explains everything when you look at it, from the bass to the drums to the middle. It explains everything. Saxophone, you can't see. Guitar, you kind of gotta. Piano
Whoa, bite your
explains-
tongue. Guitar?
No. Guitar, but I'm saying where you see all the elements in one situation.
Okay, I'll accept that as
The
an apology.
piano.
Okay. You okay?
The
I'm
piano.
okay, yeah. It hurt.
I'm
It
sorry.
hurt a little bit.
You know
I
what?
got you.
You know what? You know what I'll do? Maybe we'll just.
I'll give her a guitar lesson.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say I'll just have to play
We'll work it
guitar.
out. Cool.
But the piano was like I was taught, and I still believe, and that's my go-to for writing.
I agree. By the way, I'll
So
kid
do you,
aside. I agree
you
with
write from keyboards?
I mean, if it's a keyboard around,
Right.
you know,
Right, but you don't have to.
I'll be, hey man, whatever the gig call for, if I'm there, and if it's us three, we're gonna make some music somehow.
What all do you play? What instruments?
I write with keyboard and piano, and I hobby play on drums, but I am an alto saxophonist.
You're a sax player.
That's my instrument.
Yeah.
But I play keyboard with Herbie. While he's taking solos, I gotta play roles and comp him. So I'm like, Herbie, I don't play. He's like, no, you're a keyboard player. So
Herbie Hancock's telling
if
you
he's
that.
saying, you know,
Then you are.
I'm a saxophonist, and I could toy around with the piano a little bit.
Got
and
it.
The vocoder and the mini move.
Is it a true story that Jay Leno bought you your first professional horn?
My first really expensive horn, yeah.
How'd that happen?
It was a scholarship situation that he was going around to, if I can remember right, different areas from here to New York or whatever. And me and a friend of mine, I think we was in 10th, 11th grade, we won a scholarship from Jay Leno. It was supposed to be 2 of the kids in that area that was the best.
Amazing.
The best, whatever.
Yeah.
The word best is weird, but whatever that thing was, we were the guys. Ryan went to Washington Prep with Fernando Pullum.
Wow.
And I went to Lock High, Reggie Andrews.
Yes, indeed.
So
Hold on. Reggie Andrews needs a big shout out and big props.
Oh, yeah.
So many people that are successful have come
In
through his
LA.
program.
Unbelievable.
And he's a national treasure we should look out for.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
we should.
Yeah.
We should.
And Lock High,
Well, let me just add to that, because there's a
didn't
whole
mean to cut you off.
Oh, nah, for Reggie Andrews, we could always talk
there's
about
a whole infrastructure in LA of people behind the scenes that have super impact on a lot of the musicians and artists and stars that you guys really like, and you will never know who they are. And Reggie Andrews is one of the biggest.
Honestly, in Los Angeles, I'll say if you're from Los Angeles, and successful, you went through that channel.
You went through it.
And if you're not from Los Angeles, you received help from that channel.
And by the way, you didn't have to go to Locke to do that. Reggie was a
No.
friend of mine, and we came up together, and
I never
Heart
met
of
him. I wish I could
Gold
meet
Oh,
him.
you gotta
just
meet him.
committed to making
Yeah.
sure cats got through. So Reggie, shout out.
Reggie Andrews.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And look at the results.
I thank God for Reggie.
Yes,
man, 'cause, you
indeed.
know,
All of us
Reggie
do.
came in with all of us. Like I say, we all have fathers, but sometimes even a father in a household needs help.
Yeah, that's right.
And Reggie came in and just like with
Yes.
a lot of us, that was, okay, I know you got these issues where other schools, because before I went to Locke, I went to Santa Monica High School.
Oh, did you?
Where but it was a social barrier.
Uh-huh.
It was a communication thing, because I was coming from an all-black situation. You know, black and Latinos my whole life, and to go to Santa Monica, which was beautiful, but socially the teachers weren't ready for me. Weren't ready for a crew of us.
Yeah.
So Reggie saw that things wasn't working out, things that could have ruined my life as a man
Right.
in 9th grade, and came and told my mom he needs to be at Locke High.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what happened. So Reggie came and got me.
Wow.
You know, and I went to Locke High. I didn't grow up in Watts,
Right.
but I went to Locke High over there.
The stories we were talking earlier, I mean, in your career, we can go from Herbie Hancock and Kendrick Lamar and Snoop and on to President Obama and Jay Leno and stuff, and you've just been following your vision, doing your thing. The thing that kills me about, there's so many of you guys I admire, that it's just you following your music. Like you don't loke up about it, you don't, it's just, you have something in you that you need to get out and express yourself and be true to your vision. And the fact that we all get it is so amazing. I mean, reading your Wikipedia and your bio is like picking up a good book. I just wanted to continue. Your quotes, by the way, for somebody who's quotable, hit us with a couple of his quotes.
My favorite is you said that you wanted your music to be like on the Titanic when it was going down. That's brilliant. It's urgent.
I'm so mad at you. I didn't come up with that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, really.
That's cool, ain't it, Shangor?
But there was
Expand on that.
Oh yeah. What was the thought?
Well, my thought for me, like being an artist and growing up in an artist household and knowing all the sacrifice it takes to be an artist, like we all are artists, you know. And by seeing my father and my mother and uncles and different friends of the family musicians go through so much, See, I didn't grow up with I grew up with high skill level talented jazz musicians.
Yep.
But I didn't grow up with rich music. I grew up with what I'm saying, that quote, that mentality comes from, my father is serious about this art thing. Serious, especially about this jazz musician art thing.
That's a purist space.
He's a thing, yeah. And the thing is like, when you sign up as a jazz musician, the last thing you're thinking about is $1.
Right.
So that means, although I'm not just a jazz musician, but I look at everything as jazz as my foundation. As when I signed up to do this music and art thing, I know all that came with this. I know because I lived it. I know the bad. I know all the bad. I know a little bit of the good, but spiritually I know the wonderful.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's why. So when it comes to that,
just quote it again.
so with the Titanic. Now what's funny is I say that right. I just did a tour with Herbie when we had to fly to London and sail back without docking 9 days, the same route the Titanic. So I said that.
Wow.
But then we got to the part where it was a storm, and it was going like this, and I kept saying to myself, I hope they have a raft for me when I get off this ship. But all jokes aside, but I mean that what I say, where I'm this art, wherever this art take me is where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I know what I signed up for.
Yeah.
It's on me to control my light side and my dark side and keep those things into perspective and live healthy and work throughout the art. But I know what I signed up for.
You mentioned about not worrying about making $1, but have you ever wondered how much $1 cost?
Well, welcome. You've been waiting.
I love that.
You've been waiting for this. This is what we do.
Dang.
I got him.
I got profoundness on both sides. I'm struggling to come up with something.
Oh man, that made me hot.
It did?
It did.
In a sweaty way.
Well, I thought he was gonna go on me, you know.
No, it's not.
I snuck it by with you in between, so I'm okay.
Got you.
Explain what I'm talking about.
How much $1 costs? How much does $1 cost?
Tell him, Herb.
No, don't bring me.
It happened to be President Obama's favorite song last year.
That's right. That's right.
And
You
Terrace
sat with him,
went
you
to
met
the
with
White
him?
House and stuff.
You know what? When I think Kendrick called me in the morning and said, "Yo, Obama likes that song. And you see this? You see this?" And I was like, "Ah, man, you pulling my leg."
Right. It's not real.
And you know, in Twitter, I read it. You know what I'm saying? And I was careful about retweeting that because I'm careful about.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be that guy.
Just in case.
You know,
Just in case.
I'm born and raised in LA.
Right.
So I see a lot come through LA. I didn't want to be that guy.
Yes, indeed.
You know.
Yes, indeed.
I think perception is great. Everybody got their own thing, but I come from a real thing.
Yeah, that's
where
right.
I have to check this out.
That's right.
So I you know, during that same week, I get a call from Herbie Hancock saying, "Yo, I want you to come do International Jazz Day at the White House." So I'm like, I'm not even thinking about I'm gonna ask Obama.
Right.
I'm like,
Let me get a suit.
thank you, I'm there.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
do you want me to wear?
Right.
Where we rehearsing? So you know. Anyway, we get to the White House. We fly in. We have rehearsals the night before. The next day is the show. And we're on the White House line. And Obama said, before everybody plays, I want to meet all the musicians. And the quarters up here, you go upstairs.
Yeah.
All these things. And by the way, is at this it was all kind of young jazz musicians playing throughout the White House. It was the most beautiful. And like the military band was playing John Coltrane tunes. It was like crazy at the White House to what it is today.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, so we get to this thing and there's all these people in this one room. There's Sting, and Morgan Freeman, Wayne Shorter, and Herbie. Was Chick there? I think Chick was there. I remember Chick. Pat Metheny, Al Jarreau, God rest his soul.
Absolutely.
Al Jarreau. Aretha Franklin, all of us in one room. Wow. First of all, I'm on the side like, well, this is crazy. It's me and one of my best friends named Robert Glassman. So we're in. He's silly.
Yeah. Okay.
He's silly. Deep musician, but silly.
Yeah.
So he said, Obama said, yo, everybody hang out, you know, gonna take a picture. So Robert says, hey, fool, when Obama come next to you, I'm gonna tell him you did how much $1 cost. I said, no, you're not, I can't lose the gig. You can't.
Right. Right. We haven't played yet.
Let's be cool.
You're right.
Let's be cool. Let's take a picture. I'm happy, I'm here.
Right.
Okay, I'm not gonna say nothing.
Yeah, you know that's not happening.
So Obama comes down the line, shake everybody's hand. My friend Robert Glassman taps Obama like this.
Oh, no.
I said, hey, you produce how much $1 costs. And Obama said, and called over Michelle and talked to me and
You're kidding.
and was talking about the record and he expressed to me that he's turned on people that felt some type of way towards Black people to that record and through that and through different things of that song changed their whole outlook to their life.
Really?
You know, but he was, and I was like, yo, and that record wasn't just me, it was me, Kendrick Lamar, James Fauntleroy, and my dear friend, Joseph Lineberg.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a collective thing. I just put the pieces together, but it was a collective thing. You know?
What an amazing.
I was just like, yo. I mean, between him saying that and I'm looking at Wayne Shorter, I'm just like.
Yeah, like it's not getting a lot, like it's almost too much.
Yeah.
But also, you should have been prepared for that because someone said that your gift makes room for you. So the room was in the White House, but it made room for you.
It did.
I'm weaving these quotes in pretty well.
Wow.
But you know what?
That's for a living.
I'm thankful for everything, man. Every little step, because like I say, I don't come from the ultimate successful musician household. So where I'm at as a musician, I'm just like, yo, like, you know, thank God and thank the cats that came before me that suffered so hard, that didn't live to even see certain things. Or, you know, so many of my heroes that we could go down the line that I'm sure you guys may know, but the world doesn't. You know?
Right.
I mean,
You strike me as though you make sure you maintain some of that feeling as you move forward, even as you're winning, because that's a place of truth. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say because for me, and by me being a product of hip hop, I like, you know, Eazy-E is my first hero musically. Jazz was later, you know, but my parents installed that in me. So,
Did they listen to hip hop in the house when you were coming up?
not what I was
really.
listening to. Man, my mom made me want to work with Dr. Dre and them. I used to go to the Rhodium swap meet as a little kid when I was like 6, 7 years old. My mom would sit me in front of Steve Yanu, God rest his soul. Steve Yanu owned the record shop in the Rhodium swap meet. That Cube and Dre and Easy and everybody went through the swap in Gardena. This was like 1987, 88. And he would give me records. So he would give me he would sell me, I would have $5. You get the 12-inch single for $5. So one record he would sell me with no cussing. And every now and then he'd give me a little, he'd take this Public Enemy.
Right.
Don't play it for you. Play it for you. He would take this. Then one day he gave me a record, a white cover, and a red, the Ruthless record thing. What is this? Listen to this. The guy that comes here every now and then, he raps with this guy. Ice Cube would come to the road every now and then. I go and put the record on, and it was I didn't put it on the A side, it was the B side. On the B side, it was a song on that 12-inch single called Panic Zone. And it was like a dum, 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 like early like Egyptian leverage. It was Dr. Dre though, you know what I'm saying? So I was, whoa. Then I was into that, the way it moved, and I remember the day I flipped that shit over. I flipped it over, bam. And you just heard, and I was like, what?
Well, here we go.
And I heard that, and I was like, you know, it didn't hit me till I went outside the next day and I heard Suzuki Samurai with Dayton's played. Because I'm life.
Right.
I saw how it worked in life.
Right.
Whoa, and everybody was just bobbing their head, every street.
Everywhere.
Playing this guy named Eazy-E, and I'm a kid, and I'm like, what? Then I finally go back to the Rhodium swap meet, you know, and I get a chance, Eazy-E's there.
He's there.
And Steve at 8, 9 years old introduced me to Eazy-E, and I knew then I was like, well, there, because he was such a gentleman, and everybody crowding around him, and that was that. After that, I mastered playing the radio edits when my mom wasn't home. But then one day I thought she went to church, and she didn't leave yet. And I got a chance, I put on my Lokes on that I bought, and I put my khakis on, and my Nike Cortez, and my Dickie jacket, and I looked in the mirror at 9 years old, I was about to do my Eazy-E skit. And I did the whole thing, the Boys in the Hood, on the record. That's when the record player you could buy with a little cassette deck came in the record player. I think Magnavox, one of them companies. And you play it, and I heard the record, and I turned around, and my mom was like, is this what you're listening to? And she said, come out here. Went to the kitchen, and she said, why are you listening to this? And said, this is horrible, and broke it. Boom. That day I said, whatever pissed her off, I gotta do that more often. And every time I got a chance to meet Cube years ago when I started working professionally at 19. I said, man, my mom broke that record, and that was it. You know, those things like that. But that was my earliest. That was, you know, I forgot the question you asked. Because every time you mention, I think of Eazy-E and go crazy.
Well, what's fascinating about your story and your music is that you are, and your music is visual. Like you can listen to your music and see things. Do you know what I mean? And the way you tell stories, it just illuminates it. I don't think you're trying to do that. You're just expressing. Correct? I mean, it's like you're painting on a palette. And when it's done, the pictures there.
One of the things, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I felt a comma right there, so I went
it was right
for
there. Step right in.
An observation, not an accurate one, but jazz has one feel and it has one kind of. There's an element of jazz that's not present in hip hop, and hip hop is less about precision and more about feel and the moment. And how do you maneuver so easily in both worlds? Do you have to stop and kind of flip a few switches, or am I wrong? They're both the same, because from my chair, it feels like they're different feels, different concepts, different purposes for the end listener. How do you do that?
Well,
because you put a lot of jazz in the hip hop stuff.
Yeah, and I always
vice versa.
have. Always have. I couldn't explain that until 5, 6 years ago. I went on YouTube and I studied a lot. So one of my favorite, one of the forefathers of what I do was a guy named Roy Hargrove. And Roy did said an interview, and he gave that thing. It helped me in my life. He said, they asked him about hip hop, and he said, well, he gave the lineage. He said the gospel babies from the slaves, had the blues babies. The blues babies had the jazz babies. The blues babies had these fusion babies. The gospel babies go back to the blues, had the funk babies, all this funk, then the jazz and the funk had the fusion babies, and all this, and disco came, and all of a sudden, instruments was wiped out, and all we had was records. All we had was records. So when he explained that like that, I said, because when I was younger, it was hard for me to go spend 7 months with Snoop and then go play with Billy Higgins. It was a challenging mental thing because it wasn't enough hours in the day to work with Snoop and practice the tunes I had to learn to go play the jazz gig.
Right.
So in my early days, I had to stop one and like a project, take on
finish
one.
and then go to this.
Yeah, because keep in mind, I also come from the household where being a working musician is important.
Right. Right.
And sometimes that at that age meant put aside certain things that I have to do these things.
Right.
But which I did love working with Snoop and doing jazz, but it got frustrating and I couldn't figure this out until I started studying and I started looking at Snoop and I was already reading about Miles Davis and studying him and I started seeing the similarities, the lifestyles and stories. I started seeing these similarities. Snoop would always listen to the Dramatics and Blue Magic and Smokey Robinson. And, all the early Motown stuff really had good extensive harmony, odd times on the bridges sometimes. Most of the drummers used an 18-inch kick because they were jazz drummers. Wow. So I was, through Snoop, I was able to figure it out because he doesn't separate nothing because he comes from hip-hop totally and he's an icon, so being in the box is not his thing. Right. Sometime in a musician or I like to, when I meet mix engineers that went to these big schools, they're in the box. Right? When I meet musicians that go to the conservatories and swear off Juilliard, then they're in the box as well. When I meet the natural ones that didn't go into school, they're a little more wide open. So with this, I realized, I was like, yo, this is crazy, because Snoop is like, yo, put the talk box right there on top of the string sound. Make it big. Put the 808 right there. But the bass is out of tune with the 808. I don't care, that's what I like. I like the out of tune. I don't care how much you dial it out. I like I like that. So I was like, well, shit. And I think years of working with Snoop, and at the time listening to John Coltrane meditations, or studying Wayne Shorter, or listening to really getting into my string arranging with early Claire Fisher records. I realized what Snoop was asking for was no different than just negative harmony or extensive harmony with Coltrane, or McCoy, or even Herbie asked for, but just in a different type of language. So then when I threw out all these titles and names of jazz and hip hop, and even down to my mixing were in the box, out the box, and when I just threw all those things out the way, then that's when I started coming in, at about 21, I started coming in to this thing to where I'm gonna stand by what I sound. I'm gonna work, I have to work. So I'm gonna work, I have to work, we have to work. Right. But while I'm working, I'm gonna spend some extra hours on my own thing, developing my own thing.
Yes, yes indeed.
So that's why now it's whatever to me now, but sometimes, like YG, when I first started working with him, I was also working on To Pimp a Butterfly. And To Pimp a Butterfly was mentally challenging, just like Writing a Sweet was. And then YG was about the funk.
Yeah.
So it was like I'm working with...
so you're in both of those things at the same time.
But how I did it, I had to look at Kendrick like Coltrane, and for me to hold equally as value to the YG record musically, I had to look at him like Sly Stone.
Wow.
For me to equally hold the value, because it was challenging to hold, because I'm a fan of Writing Charts, I'm a fan of all these things, but I love YG's honesty. And he's so cold and funky, and he understands that pocket where I didn't want to abandon the funk. So I had to figure out a way mentally how to get to that, and it was the Sly Stone way for YG to get to that.
Did those partitioning between those two elements, did they affect each other's record? In your head? Had to.
Well, they affect each other anyway.
Right.
You see that
But then
those.
you become another translator of that information.
At that time, that was the balance of Compton.
Yes, indeed.
The good kid, even the good kid, Mad City, like he's talking, telling a story, and you look at a cat like YG, he's one of those kids that was doing the shit. Then you go to, because that record came out, then we had My Crazy Life, which was like the contemporaries. They coexisted in Los Angeles culture, definitely. And I use those extremes on a lot a lot of conversations as well.
It feels like I'd like to hear your opinion on this. It seems like if you use the word blues with a broad definition, that's the thread that permeates almost all of those forms of music to me. Not the 12-bar part, but just the there's something connecting about that particular music form that sneaks in and becomes the foundation for a lot of things that we love. Like, I don't know why.
It's honesty. The blues is when you know when you mixing the record. You know when you're on the desk. You know you mix and your arm may go. Or you make solo.
Yeah.
Or like you make solo something that the guitar player just sent you an email to cut out, and you like no, that's the honesty.
Right. Yeah.
That other shit's a lie.
Right.
This is it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the blues comes in because, to me, that's the first form of that honest shit.
But also the blues has a lazy feel that I just like. I don't know if it's where I grew up, because South Florida has a lot of Cuban influences, and then it has a lot of Southern influences. But that lazy, playing behind the beat blues thing, I like that.
It's
a lot.
natural.
It's natural.
That's how our heart beats. The heart don't beat like this.
No.
The heart, what beats
Yeah,
like
that's
that?
Right.
You know?
Right.
The blues, man.
Well, one of the things.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. One of the things that is indicative of what I think you're saying about the blues and what you're saying about your craft is that a lot of it's about emancipation. It's about being free and doing what you need to do and fighting for that emancipation and making sure that however way you need to be free, you're going to make sure you can be free and make your interpretation and not be somebody else. Is that
that's
fair to
it.
say?
And that's a lifelong challenge.
Right. For absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
You know.
We have that with the show. It's like, how do we do what we do, which is not the way it was done before, and however way it's good or bad, Dave and I are pretty much sticklers about, we're going to do that this way. And if it's not that good, it's just the way we're doing it. I got to tell you that it is just inspiring, though, to be, when you're with artists, I mean, you work with them all the time. I've worked with them as a businessman. When they're that in touch with the artistry that you are, you then realize why you do this, why you go through all the hell to do it, because that space is so special.
Yeah,
it's
special.
so unique, and it feeds you differently. Is that true as a musician, as an artist?
Like I say, man, I grew up in LA and New York.
Yeah.
And I grew up seeing the best musicians that we will never, ever hear about. Drive taxi cabs, or be amazing electricians, but don't have the passion in that, but play the hell out the bass.
Yep.
Or the guy, I know a cat right now that don't even know music. I could call him right now from Compton to drive here, and he could write a symphony on the way here.
Wow.
He could write a symphony.
Wow.
And he because of circumstances in life, so I just know that is a thing. It's a space to be in, And he's happy, by the way. The cat that could do the frequencies.
And that's the point.
He doesn't want to subject himself to deal with the other headache because he wants to keep his art like that. And he's bad.
And that's him wanting to be free and
man.
emancipated. Yeah. Wow.
Jermaine Anson.
Shout out to Jermaine.
I could be like, man, did you hear that Usher record today? Or no, when Mask Off to Future record. You hear that Mask Off? I love that Mask Off. He's like, yeah, man, he's different. I just wrote a piece of a suite. Like he just sits
Just like that.
He don't talk much, but he at his house it's just stacks in Compton.
Wow.
The east side of Compton. But that's regular for Compton and Watts.
It is.
Compton and Watts is the biggest in Los Angeles, the biggest art communities we have.
So
that's regular.
True. That
Cats
is
been
a great
writing
point.
symphonies from there since the 60s. And, Eric Dolphy, Charles Mingus.
Oh my God, all those guys. Unbelievable. Does the business of the business, because where you are now, producing great records and with incredible artists and a wide range of things, does the business intrigue you? Does it get in the way? It's something, because now as a father and being responsible financially and so on and so forth, how do you manage that part of it? Do you have a team? Do you do it yourself? What's
I
the
have a
balance?
team. What I come to find out for myself years ago, I had management, and I went through different managers. And,
Everybody does.
my problem was, as usually, I couldn't find a manager, and I still can't. This is why I'm about to tell you the story. I couldn't find a manager that really widely respected everything. I'm such a passionate dude. You don't have to agree with me, but you kind of have to respect everything. Because if you don't respect it, usually you don't know shit about it. So you have to learn. So in my hip hop world, I couldn't find a manager that wanted to learn much of anything else other than get this front end, they get their money, and they'll try to chase the back end, they'll get you on the big rap record, when the next guy come along, they'll swap you out. So I saw that growing up with all of my heroes, with these big name managers, these big guys. So, you know, and then by me always, I'm such a fan, like, along with music, I love being a young hustler. My earlier life, I was getting in trouble with the law for fraud and other things like that. That's why Reggie Andrews came into my life at a time, because I did music and I did juvenile bullshit as well. But I always been turned on by money, because my biggest influences of my life early was Crips from the Crenshaw and Slauson area, the ones with all the money, because that's what I seen as level of success.
And kudos to being so young, but shooting high with fraud. Like, you weren't stealing like candy.
Nah, we was.
You was going for
fraud. It's cool now because we already been through the case some years ago, but we was already, because I had hooked up by going to Santa Monica High with a white cat, one of my early first white friends. His parents were Class A fraud specialists. So he turned us on to the fake IDs and the credit cards, and had to get somebody with a job at U-Haul to get the credit card numbers, and Priceline was big then. So not to get it tracked, you go to Kinko's to do everything. So we was already on another level of finances, and I was still shedding every day, transcribing. That's how I was able to spend time learning things, because I had other income from other ways coming in. I never hurt nobody, never stole from nobody. That wasn't my thing. But I got caught up young, and Reggie had to come get me out of jail, and I changed my life. Easy as that. But what was we talking about?
No, we just did.
Boom.
There it is.
There it is. Anytime we talking about my early youth, it's like,
Well, no,
but I was saying business-wise. I've always been intrigued with how to make $1 out of 15 cents. I've always been intrigued with being able to buy my own food and buy others' food and give. Even when I did all my crazy stuff as a kid, people will tell you all through the hood, I gave everything. When I saw couples going through bad stuff, me and my cousin T. Lee, give me $75, we're gonna fly y'all to Hawaii for a week. We would do just things in the hood for everybody. All the musicians to this day, the guys that write all the hit records, they know me, because whenever they didn't have no money and no place to stay, in and off the roads, when these mainstream artists wasn't paying nobody the right amount weekly for these grade A musicians, they were losing homes and nowhere to stay. Me and my community and my cousin of T. Lee, he's a chef now, Chef T. Lee.
Nice.
We were housing musicians in different hotels around Los Angeles.
How old were you then?
18, 19, 20. I did heavy. I was thick in it for 5 years.
Wow.
All housing musicians, songwriters, like a lot of them. We could go down the list. But I always hated to see musicians suffer. Because I grew up with a father that went through so much. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna take a penitentiary. In my family, a lot of them is criminals. So I'm gonna take a penitentiary chance. I'm not gonna starve, dog, ever. So I always made it a point to, like, I gotta learn more. And I went through a couple of bad deals, but anyway, I couldn't find a manager when I started working with Snoop and them. I couldn't find a manager to really help me out, because I didn't like how they would just pitch me to the rap thing. Pitch me to the R&B thing.
It's too limited.
Or don't even think about the jazz thing, because it doesn't make money. Or what about the film and TV? That was early. People wasn't on to that. I was on to that thing, because I want to be like Hans. I want, Quincy and them. So I couldn't find one for years, until being around Snoop, one of my mentors since 17, my personal big brother of mine, he said, man, sometimes you gotta manage yourself. He said, ain't nobody gonna chase your money like you. Ain't nobody gonna care about your water getting cut off like you. Ain't nobody gonna care about your box of reeds like you. He said, sometimes if you can't find nobody, do it yourself. That's what I do sometimes. And he had a big team, but then I still seen Snoop hustle. Hustle. Because if you could call Snoop right now, you got the bag, he gonna pick up the call.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So I seen that. So at this age now, what I ended up doing was I'm very hands-on with my business. Not in, but I'm in. I've been having the same personal attorney, since I was 17. And I have another attorney for different things. But business-wise, I've assembled a team. I've assembled a team of people that I trust. And no, they didn't know a lot about the game, but I've been in this game since 16. So I've been through enough fucked up publishing deals and bad production deals and lies to tell them this is what we're not gonna go for. These are the points. If I mix a record, I need points. Matter of fact, I don't even want to mix records today. If it ain't, it's only a few cats that's getting the right rate.
Right, that's right.
So I'm gonna stand back on that one.
Exactly
So you make sure you do this, do that,
Right.
do that, do that. I don't do replays.
Right.
I rewrite. So
Right.
if they have a sample on a replay, I have a young homeboy I could do to send them over there.
Right.
And I trained a team that have all these things. So now it's me and my team. Now, one day I might partner up with somebody else. But right now, me and my team, with my lawyer, my accountant, and I'm hands-on with everything. And I don't take everything.
You're the quarterback of that team.
Yeah, I don't take everything that comes to me. I take what I want to
Got to be
take.
selected, no question about it.